A couple of years ago, I discovered Canva, thanks to a brilliant fellow executive assistant who used it to bring life to team letters and morale events. Honestly, it was a game changer for me. I went from feeling intimidated by design to leveling up my content creation game. And I know so many of you are in that same boat. You want the freedom of entrepreneurship, but the tech and the design side can feel like a whole new language. Today's episode is a must listen for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by the idea of doing it all in their business, especially when it comes to design, branding, and showing up online. Welcome back to the Productive AF podcast, where we ditch the hustle culture and build clarity, confidence, and consistency, one real imperfect win at a time. I'm your host, Jen Fast. My guest today is Melissa LeMay, one of only 43 Canva verified experts worldwide and the creative force behind Graphic Maven and the Canva Template Collective. Melissa's mission is all about helping entrepreneurs, especially women, create standout visuals with ease, even if you don't consider yourself a designer. She's built a thriving business around making Canva accessible, profitable, and dare I say, fun. Today, Melissa is going to share her journey, her best Canva strategies, and how you can turn creativity into cash, even if you're short on time or feel like you're starting from scratch. Let's dive in. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, that's always a great introduction. Thanks so much for having me.
So let's start with your story. You made a big career pivot. Can you share what inspired you to leave your 9 to 5 and how that journey led you to where you are today?
Yeah, it's kind of a wild journey, I would say. I was working in 9 to 5s, like I would say most people, most people back at some point, right? We all had a job at some point. And it was as simple as my boss denied me a 1 hour break to go to my son's school to see a speech that he was making. My son was 8 years old back then. He was making a speech in front of 200 people, and I wanted to be there. And he said, "No, you can't go." And I was like, you know what? There's never going to be anyone in this world that's going to tell me when I am allowed to or when I'm allowed to show up for my children. Like, this is not going to happen ever again. And I put my 2 weeks notice, and then I was like, okay, well, I don't have a job anymore, so what am I going to do? So I went and I said, went into Google and I asked, what kind of work can I do online? And virtual assistant came up. So I started a virtual assistant, like general admin stuff that I was doing, and I actually hated it. Like, I didn't like answering emails for people. I didn't like that aspect. Some people love it. It was just not for me. But I had replaced my 9 to 5 income with it, so I was like, you know what? That's what I'm doing. And then as I was creating, I came across Canva at some point in my virtual assistant business, and I was creating content for social media, creating graphics and all of that, and people were coming to me being like, "Oh, I really love what you're creating. Can you help me out?" And I was doing that just for fun. And then I was like, heck, people are coming to me for design tips, for me to design for them or to help them with Canva. Maybe I can turn this into a side hustle because I really love creating in Canva, but I didn't like the virtual assistant part of the business. So I created like a little side hustle that I called Graphic Maven. And the rest is kind of history because Graphic Maven now is like a full-time gig. It's no more of a side hustle.
It's funny how our journeys have been a little bit similar in that just 3 months ago, I had one of those last straw moments at my corporate job that I had been at. I was in corporate for 30 years, and that's when I realized I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to answer to other people and be in their timelines. And I ended up just quitting my job within a weekend and starting my own thing just like you. So I totally get that. I also love how you turned a side hustle into a business that truly fits your life. That's something our listeners crave: freedom, flexibility, and work that feels aligned. You've been working with Canva since 2018, and now you're one of only 2 Canva verified experts in Canada. For those who don't know, what does it actually mean to be a Canva verified expert, and how did that opportunity come about?
Yeah, so I became a Canva verified expert, I think back then in 2000, I think it was 2018. Yeah, so that was the year that I became a Canva verified expert. Back then it was called Canva certified creative. Like the name was different. Um, I was all over social media, helping people with Canva. Like when I tell you that I loved helping people getting to understand Canva, getting to use Canva, like I actually was doing that, like just free stuff, just answering questions for people for free. Like I wasn't charging for anything at that point, but I gained so much authority and people got to know me and I gained so much visibility that I guess Canva came across my accounts and they basically asked me if I wanted to become a Canva certified creative. And I said yes. And I've been part of their program since then. So basically, the Canva verified expert, we're handpicked, meaning that Canva picks who joins the program. So as of right now, there's only 43 of us. Um, we're a pretty tight gang, and it's a lot of like different backgrounds too. But people that come into the Canva verified expert are basically leaders when it comes to Canva. So we're there to spread the love, the Canva love to other people, but also like educating people around Canva. And we also work really closely with the Canva team, meaning that we help them develop some of the features, we help them test some of the features. We get feedback from our audience, right? So Canva is like working in their offices and doing all the back end stuff, right? And making this platform amazing, but they don't work necessarily with the people using the platform. So we are kind of the like middleman between our audience and the Canva HQ, where we pass on some feedbacks and things like that. So basically, we work closely with the team to make Canva better and spread the Canva love.
Love that. That's such a unique credential. And it's clear that you've built real authority in this space. But for a lot of entrepreneurs, Canva can feel overwhelming at first. Many in our audience are doing their own marketing and social, just like I am. And tell me if this sounds familiar. I want to learn Canva, but I don't have time for another tech rabbit hole. What would you say to the woman who feels stuck at the starting line?
So, if you're just starting with Canva, or if you feel overwhelmed, like you've been using Canva for a while and it still feels overwhelming, I would say stick to the simple stuff for basically everything. So, both the Canva features and the design layout. So, if you're just starting out and you're not design savvy, don't go and try to learn all the fun, funky things in Canva. Start with the basics. So use very minimalistic design layouts that are easy for you to edit. And then when I say minimalistic, I mean like not too many elements. So there's not like all these different pieces moving on the graphic. So minimalistic would probably mean simple text box, just a few maybe images, and that would be very minimalistic. But you don't need to have all the bells and whistles. Just stick to the basic stuff. And then I would say create only what you need. I know it's hard, but don't go down that rabbit hole of creating all the graphics that you're not technically going to use. So I would say start with a template and build on that one template. So create maybe 5 or 6 templates for yourself, or like for your business, and just use those for a while. Just have those 5 to 6 templates that matches together and that they're cohesive. And what's that's going to do, it's going to help you stay consistent online because you're going to have those 5 or 6 graphics that you're reusing over and over again. And it's going to make it easy for you. Because a lot of people don't post on social media because they either don't know what to say, or they don't know how to design, or they don't know what to put on the graphic, or they feel like their graphic is not good enough for Instagram and things like that. So that would be my main tips. And I would also say start learning little by little. Like don't try to learn it all at once. It's just there's just so many things you can do in Canva. So just start with what you need to know in the moment. Once you've kind of nailed that down, then you can start learning more and more. And also, I would say be in a space maybe that offers support for you to learn as you go. So if you are in like part of a membership or something like that, that can help you with that kind of stuff, it's definitely something that can help you move faster and learn faster.
Those are great tips. Thank you. I remember when I first opened Canva, I was blown away by how quickly I could create something that actually looked professional, but I definitely wasted time before I learned that I should set up my brand kit and organize my templates into folders. Are there any more top tips like that that would help someone who's now getting started but is starting to get overwhelmed?
Definitely, I like brand kits and folders are definitely something that if you're just starting out, for sure, those should be something that you utilize. For sure, the brand kit, just simply because it's going to make the content creation so much easier. It's just going to be able to apply all the colors and the fonts and all of that to your graphics. And honestly, it doesn't take long for you to create that. It's just a matter of actually doing it. And then folders, honestly, if you're just starting out in Canva, you need to have folders because it's going to save you so much time from, just being organized, having everything organized into folders. And the thing is, with Canva Pro, you can actually have unlimited amount of folders. So you can be as organized as you want. And it's just a matter of just putting the things in the folder.
You launched the Canva Template Collective, and now you're rebranding to the Branded Business Collective. Can you tell us what inspired this evolution and how your membership supports entrepreneurs who want more than just templates? They want that real support and the community.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, the Canva Template Collective was more of a subscription. I feel like a lot of people are thinking that membership and subscription are the same thing, but it's not necessarily the same thing. Just like, you have a subscription to Netflix, you have access to the content. So it was kind of the same thing. There's no real support when you subscribe to Netflix. So it was kind of the same thing. People were getting templates delivered each month, and that was pretty much it. But I realized that um, people were craving support and they wanted to get feedback on their graphics, and they had like business questions like, I'm launching this thing, so how many graphics should I have? Should I have an email list? Like things that were all somewhat related to graphics but also related to business as well. And so I decided to launch a second tier to the membership, which allowed people to ask questions. It was more of a very supportive group. It was a small group at first, and it was really great. And what happened, what I noticed within that second tier, the people that had the support, was that they were moving faster, they were getting sales faster, they were so much more productive, and they were reaching their goals just faster. Because when you have a question, or when you're doubting yourself, or when you're like, oh, I'm not sure on this, or maybe I just need a little bit of feedback, when you have someone to answer those questions for you, you actually move on to the next step versus having to actually overthink or ask ChatGPT and have a full on conversation, and then still being back to square one and not having a clear path of what you're doing with whatever question you had. So I was like, okay, these people are moving way faster, getting faster results. They're making more money. How can I bring this to everybody else? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of the second tier, and I'm going to bring this to the whole membership. Everybody's going to get support, because I think when we first start, this is kind of what we need. We don't necessarily have, the budget to invest in a $2,000 a month coach or something like that. And it's been great. We have a new platform now, and people can have me in their pocket. They can ask questions. They can get their graphics reviewed. And it's just a great community overall.
You know, I'm all about anything that makes me more productive. And I usually focus on systems that save time and brain power. But as we know, having a community can be really powerful. And it seems like having a creative professional like you in the corner would be a real game changer. You mentioned being able to organize more folders with a Canva Pro account. Can you tell us kind of the differences between the free account and the pro, and then something called Canva for Business now?
Yeah, so there's a lot that you can do with Canva Pro. Like we could be here all day talking about the differences, but basically, I think there's three tiers that we need to be aware of. Like there's another tier that is like enterprise for big businesses, which doesn't apply to us. So basically, you have Canva Free, which everybody can get, right? And you have limited features. For example, the brand kit would be one of them. I believe that you can only do certain things with the brand kit, like it's not as extensive if you have Canva Pro. Um, you have different features like background remover, for example, or different, like you're limited with animations and things like that. So you kind of have access to a little bit of things, but not everything. And the easiest way for you to know if it's a free or a pro feature is to look for the little crown. So if there's a little crown beside whatever you're clicking on, this actually means that this is a pro feature. So if you have Canva for free, they're going to ask you to pay when you click on that thing. So with Canva Pro, what is great is that you also get access to all of the images, so you're not restricted. All of the elements. So if you're designing something and you fall in love with let's say an element or something, and it's a pro feature, when you go to download your design, it's going to prompt you to actually pay for it. And honestly, the pro feature is not even that expensive. It's a business expense, right? And it gives you so much more. And the other tier is the Canva for Business, which is great for people that have teams and things like that. If you work, let's say, with a social media manager, things like that, this is the version you would want to sign up for.
One of the things I loved about Canva is that you get so much functionality, even with the free account, which is hard to find. But I did very quickly switch to a pro account, and that was worth the low investment for that, just to have those tools. You have talked about how to turn creativity into cash. For listeners who want to monetize their own skills, what's your best advice for just getting started, and what mindset shifts are the most important for that?
I think a lot of people think that anything Canva related, if you sell templates or if you want to sell a digital product, everybody seems to think that it's oversaturated. But honestly, it's not. And the reason for that is because a lot of people are doing it wrong, in the sense that, it's cheap, it's cheesy, it's not niche down, it's not well made, it's just there's no support and all of that. So if you actually do it well and you know who you are creating for, you're way ahead of a lot of people. When it comes to creating online, like I come across so many templates that are not well created. I would say that there's more of those versus the well created templates, for example. So if you actually, like I said, do it well, it's going to stand out. People notice. They don't know why their templates are not working, or they don't know why that template is actually working. Like they don't understand that, but they can tell when something actually works or something actually doesn't work. And if you put that effort into creating something that is valuable, you're definitely going to see the results in the end, right? Because people are going to come back, people are going to talk about you. And so that's why I say it's not necessarily oversaturated. And one other thing I would say is that it's okay to be a beginner. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. Like we all have to start at the bottom. And truly all you need is to be at least one step ahead of your clients. You don't need to know it all. It's just a matter of just knowing a little bit more. Like when I started back in 2000, let's say 16 or 17, when I started using Canva, it was a way different version than what it is right now, but I didn't know everything. And when people ask questions, sometimes I didn't know the answer, but I went and looked for the answer and I figured it out. And then, I would support them that way. And it's not about, like I said, it's not about knowing it all. It's just being one step ahead.
I feel like every time I open Canva, I learn like a new feature they've added or new something else that I didn't know how to do. Are there any features of Canva that you think are way underutilized or you wish people would discover earlier?
Uh, oh, yes, there's tons. I would say people don't use folders enough, and we already talked about that. Just to keep you organized, it's going to save you so much time. Um, and then just having a system inside of Canva. So not even like necessarily like features or anything like that, just knowing like having a folder system to organize your stuff, but also having a system when you're designing. So you're not like reinventing the wheel every single time. So that's something that people don't necessarily know how to do. And then features, effects. Okay, so that's on a little top bar when you're selecting something. There's a little pop-up menu that pops up at the top. That's where you would find effects. And there's just like so different things. You can curve your text, you can hollow your text, and playing with that can actually bring some cool things that you can do with text. Background remover is definitely one that is great. And the reason for that is that you can just do pretty much anything once you remove the background. And there's also the background generator that you can do with Canva. So if you remove your background, let's say that I'm just standing in my kitchen, remove the background, I can make myself stand in front of the, I don't know, an Eiffel Tower if I want to. So that's kind of cool. And then anything under edit and under Magic Studio. So the background remover, background generator, I already said, magic eraser. So let's say that you're standing in your kitchen, have a great picture, but there's a pile of dishes in the back. You can just erase that. So that's fun for that. There's also the image to video, like anything under Magic Studio is a lot of fun to play around.
I think my life changed when I discovered the batch create function in Canva. That's a little more advanced, but that has definitely helped me really accelerate the amount of content that I could put out.
Yes, that's true. There's also like if you go under apps, there's a lot. Like there's thousands and thousands of apps that you can look through, but there's quite a few different ones, like the QR code generator. Those are great to put like on business cards or like flyers or things like that. There's just I don't know. There's just so many apps that you can play around with to do really cool stuff.
Well, this has been such a masterclass in making design accessible and even profitable. Before we go, I always ask one question of my guests. If listeners took away only one thing from this episode, what do you hope that is?
I think it would be that Canva is it's only a tool. So if it feels hard or if it feels overwhelming, you just need to get a little bit better at understanding the tool. And that goes for just pretty much any tool that we're using in business, right? And if you can learn and understand the tool a little bit better while being supported, it's going to be so much easier. Often people are frustrated with Canva, but it's not necessarily Canva the issue. It's just because we don't understand it or we don't understand how to do this one thing, right? So if we learn those things, Canva is going to become so much easier.
If someone does need that support, where can people find you and connect with you and check out your templates and your membership?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram all the time. I'm also on Threads, so you can find me at graphic.maven on Instagram. I believe Threads is the same. And of course, my website. I'm assuming you're going to put all of that in the show notes, right? Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think that would be the best place to connect with me. And honestly, even if you just want to say hi, that's totally fine. I love having conversations in the DMs.
And I will provide all the links for Melissa in the show notes for anyone who is interested in just reaching out to her directly. Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing your wisdom and the permission to show up imperfectly. To anyone listening, remember, you don't have to be a designer to build a business that you're proud of. You just need the right tools, maybe a little support, and the courage to just start messy. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend, leave a 5-star review, and let's keep building businesses that work for real, complex, amazing women like us. Until next time, stay productive AF.